Now we're ready for progressive time delay. So what I want you to do is, as always, stop your video, read through the steps, and then read through the steps and considerations. And I want you to specifically look for those components of an instructional trial and then come back and join me. Okay, now that you've reviewed those, hopefully again you could see those components. We have the attentional cue, we have a task direction, and then depending on what type of delay trial the teacher is in or the student is in, the teacher, if it's in those initial teaching sessions, the teacher immediately provided the student's controlling prompt in a 0-second delay trial, or if it's in those subsequent sessions, the teacher gradually increased the length of the interval as the student became more fluent and more proficient with the skill. So it may be that she started at 3 seconds, then 5 seconds, then 8 seconds, for example. As always, if the student responded correctly, you're going to provide reinforcement. If the student makes an error or doesn't respond, you're going to provide error correction, and then you're going to collect data on the student's responses because you are going to be a data-based decision-making teacher because those are the best teachers out there. And you're going to be one of the best teachers out there. All right, so again, with progressive time delay, those initial sessions are a 0 second, you have a 0 second delay interval, and then in your subsequent sessions, that delay interval gradually increases over time as the student becomes more proficient and more fluent with the skill that you are teaching. And so it might again look like this. We have a predetermined number of 0 second delay trials. So we might have 3 to 5 sessions of 0 seconds. Then we're going to move to of 0 second. Then we're going to move to 3 second delay interval, then a 5 second delay interval, then a 7 second delay interval. And you might ask, how do I determine when I'm going to increase that delay interval, that response interval? Well, if a student becomes proficient at 3 seconds, we want to increase it to 5 seconds. If the student becomes proficient at 5 seconds, we want to increase it to 7 seconds. So that's one way you could do it. It could also be that you do each of those intervals for a predetermined amount of time. So I'm going to do 3 second delay and I'm going to do that for 5 sessions. And then if the student, it's still going to be if the student is successful, I'm going to then maybe probe. I'm going to probe 5 seconds and 7 seconds to see if the student can perform the skill successfully at those intervals. And if the student, if you're at 3 and you've done 5 sessions and then you probe 5 seconds and the student's able to do it, I would then move to 5 seconds until I got whatever aligned with the IEP as far as the criteria was. And another thing to remember is that progressive time delay is a really good strategy to use for those students who don't yet have a weight response. So you could use progressive time delay, and this could be part of your weight training. You're going to notice that the data collection for progressive time delay mirrors constant time delay, with the only difference being the response interval. And so with the response interval, here are 0 second delay trials. Then the teacher moved to 3 seconds, and now the teacher is at 5 seconds. So again, you're going to make sure that you put your response interval in there. It is extremely important with all with constant time delay and with progressive time delay. But with progressive time delay, it is important that you don't miss a day of putting that in there because you may not remember when you move to the next increase in the delay interval. And again, making sure that you collect data before and after prompting. All right, so let's look at what graphing might look like for progressive time delay. And this one does look different because you're graphing the responses. So in this case, the student had no correct responses in the first 3 data points and scored at 10% in one of the baseline data points. So here we have 3 data points with 0, 10, and 0% correct responses. Now, when we move into our instruction, we have here is a 0 second delay, a 1 second delay, a 2 second delay, and a 3 second delay. And we are in intervention at this point. So we are teaching it. So again, with the correct responses, started at 0 and then jumped all the way up to 70, 80, maybe 75 and then up to 100 and that they were at 3-second delay. So you can very quickly see how effective this was with this student. And I'm not sure what this skill was. This came out of our textbook. And then if we're looking at the correct responses after a prompt, initially the student was only getting providing a correct, demonstrating a correct response when provided with a prompt. And you can see that that need for that prompt drastically decreased. And at the end, even when in maintenance, the student did not need any prompts at all. They were getting correct responses at 100% at 3 seconds, even in maintenance. So again, that's what data collection would look like for progressive time delay. Do a quick check-in with yourself. Let me know if you have any questions. And next, we'll be moving to simultaneous prompting. All right, I'll see you then.